Good evening, Internet, and welcome back to Bloodstone, a Four Dads 5th edition D&D game set in the Forgotten Realms. I am 8BitPonies, your dungeon master for the evening. I have the cast with me. Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Hello.
Greetings.
Fantastic.
Great. I can hear everybody. I can see everybody. Everything looks good. Sorry it's been a little bit, guys. We had to take off last week unexpectedly, and so it's been 2 weeks since we played last. And we had a little bit of a banger that session. Let's hope that we can carry that energy in and continue things as we have. When last we left our intrepid group of adventurers, the party is still split. I feel like I keep saying that, but the party is still split. Eldrick, Thoros'l, Makaria, and Alanere are ransacking in a nice way Titus Oaks' study, with the expectation that they're going to find something that will link Eldrick's father to the overall plot. What plot exactly? Well, we're not exactly certain yet, but there's a plot. It has to do with these stones, and they're pretty sure that Titus Oaks is somehow involved. They found a secret compartment underneath the mosaic floor of his office, and a receptacle for what they believe to be a sword to activate or to... Well, I don't know what. Well, what it actually might end up doing if they were able to activate it. On the other side is Sprout, who has left the party. I don't know necessarily if it was intended to be permanent, but left the party and threw in with a group of 6 strange, we're calling them cultists, I guess, who named him Grey Wanderer and said that he had been expected by their master, one Zaxxis. Following them outside of the city of Heliogabalus, he was directed, while blind, through a portal and wound up somewhere far, far away from Heliogabalus, where it is very, very cold and dark, and stumbled into the ruins of a broken tower upon a shelf of ice. Within the tower, a voice resonated from the shadows, proclaiming that the Grey Wanderer had come and was destined to arrive, that the children of the Watchful would gladly accept the Grey Wanderer's service and assist him in the redemption that he sought for some failures of his past. When questioning the voice, the disembodied voice, there was something of an implicit agreement that the Grey Wanderer, Sprout, would be tested, and 4 of the 6 strange cultists then attacked. Sprout's objective through the battle was to extinguish 3 candles that were placed through different places in the tower itself. And when he did so, Zaxxis itself revealed, or was revealed to him, in the form of an undead beholder. That is where we will pick up this evening, and we will start with, in that moment where, suspended in midair after having crushed and extinguished the final of the 3 candles, floating before you, Sprout, is the very clearly undead visage of a beholder. The skin on its face, or the flesh on its face, is almost entirely rotted away. The great central eye is missing. Almost entirely skeletal from the beholder orb itself. It appears to be smiling, or at least it would appear to be smiling if it had any lips to pull back to form that particular gesture. Instead, just a blank face of bone and rows upon rows of broken and jagged, sharp teeth. A number of desiccated eye stalks either writhe or hang limply from the skull, and the eyes themselves that would be expected to be at the ends of those eye stalks instead are simple motes of light that float around the beholder's skull. In its deep, resonating voice, it said, "Yes, Grey Wanderer, you are worthy. But are you now willing? I feel your fear, your disgust, your revulsion. You see now what Zaxxis truly is, and you hate."
I will not deny that I hate and abhor the sight of you, but I also have questions, and I think that you have answers. And I want to know what it is that you seek. I want to know how it is that I can redeem myself, and I want to know what part you and I both play in this.
You are wise as well as brave, Grey Wanderer. You look past your difficulties with those of my kind in your past. You look to the future. Perhaps it is that you are so hungry for redemption. Or perhaps you simply see the wisdom in allying with the children of the Watchful. You know. Somehow, you know. We can provide that which we have promised. To answer your questions, will take some time. You begin to very slowly start lowering down to the ground, and the beholder follows. You have probably surmised at this point that you were actually held aloft by its telekinesis power from one of its eye stalks, and as it lowers you gently to the ground, it settles still probably 5 or 6 feet above ground, to where that if it actually had a central eye, it would be looking at you. It would be staring you, eye to eye. Or eye to eyes, I suppose. The other 4 individuals that you had previously been in battle with take up very, very placidly, take up positions around Zaxxis and simply stand unflinching and staring into perhaps nothingness, the white sort of sheen back over their unseeing eyes. There are 2 others that stood near the door, that the insectoid creature and the halfling, that fall into ranks and essentially stand 3 to either side of Zaxxis. They're not standing in any particularly threatening position or posture, but they are standing very close to the creature. Ask your questions, Grey Wanderer, and I will answer to the best of my ability.
Let's start simple and work our way towards more complicated. Where am I?
This tower rests upon the great glacier Pelvuria, some hundreds of miles north of the city that you left. This is the lair of the Watchful.
Can you spell the name of the
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you.
Pelvuria is a name that you have only very recently probably come across, but it is a name that you've, in your recent research into geographical figures, in the region, you recognize that this is a glacier that borders the Bloodstone Kingdom to the north, and over the last several hundred years has receded. Used to fill this entire region, that has receded to some degree, and essentially revealed, I guess, this land, and continues to recede to some degree, but very, very slowly. You would expect that you're probably somewhere between 200 and 300 miles from Heliogabalus, almost straight north.
Okay, but at least I'm still on the same plane.
Still in the same plane, as far as you know.
Theoretically. What happened to you? How did you become undead? As I assume that that's what you are.
Yes. This is a long story. Zaxxis left the company of those of its kind, the Dreamers, many, many centuries ago. Zaxxis encountered a creature of unspeakable evil. One, I believe, that your companions have also encountered. Zaxxis failed in battle and was reduced to this state. Zaxxis was intended to be a pawn, a plaything. But the Dreamers are not so easily cowed and controlled. Here, Zaxxis has remained.
Is this enemy an enemy that you can name? And is it an enemy of mine?
That remains to be seen, Grey Wanderer. But if you choose to tread the path that those you travel alongside tread, then yes, the Faceless is your enemy. The Faceless is the enemy of all of Faerun and all of Thoros'l.
Why is he the enemy of all? What happened?
The Faceless is the enemy of life. It seeks to destroy, to dominate.
How did you become its enemy? And how are you not mine?
Through circumstance, to answer both questions. My encounter with the Faceless was simple coincidence. It inhabited an area that my previous self sought to take as its own. Battle was fought. Zaxxis failed. Zaxxis became what you see. Long centuries cut off from the ability to dream has changed Zaxxis. The Dreamers are understood to be creatures of intense paranoia and xenophobia, and this was true for Zaxxis. Death has changed Zaxxis, released our mind. Much has changed in the centuries since.
How do I know that I can trust you?
That is not the correct question, Grey Wanderer, because you simply cannot. Your hatred of Dreamers, of all my ilk, of undead, will never allow you to trust me. This we accept. Our alignment of interest is what you should focus more on. You seek redemption, as do the children of the Watchful, as does Zaxxis. You have much to answer for, as do we. We can work together to seek those ends.
Working together is one thing. I was controlled once by your kind. I'll never be controlled again. Can you assure me that that will never happen?
Zaxxis does not seek to dominate. Zaxxis does not seek to control. Zaxxis guides. Zaxxis shepherds. Zaxxis frees. Those you see before you were once like you, Grey Wanderer. Despondent, desperate, depressed, clinging to life only barely. These, my children, are volunteers.
It appears to me as though these volunteers have no will of their own. It appears as though they are being dominated.
The children, these children, serve as my eyes and ears and my voice to those who would not understand or would not accept the help of Zaxxis. They do so willingly. They speak with one voice. They are not dominated. And after a moment, you see that each of them nods individually, and the kind of white sheen or the film over their eyes vanishes. And each of them regards you individually. You've seen them the way that they were. And when you were fighting previously with 4 of them, they did seem to exhibit some individuality. At the moment, each of them kind of regards you a little coolly, I suppose, but certainly without the, seeming mindless quality that they previously had.
Okay.
Ask of them if you will.
In time, I feel that you have more answers than they have for me right now.
The children speak with one voice, and it is the voice of Zaxxis. This you will come to learn, to truly understand in time. Ask me the question you truly wish to ask, Grey Wanderer.
How do I save my people?
There is a path. In the centuries since Zaxxis was reborn, we have encountered many powerful beings, but only one stands as a potential aid to you in your quest. Your world is dead and gone. It cannot be revived. But if this fate were to be prevented before it happened, then perhaps the Grey Wanderer could find redemption. And Zaxxis would have helped to undo one additional failure. I will tell you of this creature, this one, with the power to walk between not only the worlds, but between times.
Who is this individual who you say has the power, and what is this power that he possesses?
He is also a walker, a wanderer. That is all that I can tell you of his name, that is all that I can tell you of him at this time. But I can provide to you the secret that he shared.
What is this secret?
The power you seek lies to the west. It is also sought by those with which you travel, or at least one. When you encounter it, when you recover it, then you must make a choice, Grey Wanderer. The one who seeks it will not share it. Your path may diverge from theirs. This path you will tread alone. But it is the only way if you seek to undo the wrong that was done to your people and to your world.
What can you tell me of this power?
Little, admittedly, except that it allows for one to walk between times as well as worlds. With this power, you could return and undo that which was done to your people and to many worlds before. You could save your people, defeat the Illithids before your world came to peril. The redemption you seek lies within this power.
How will I know if I see the power? What will it look like? What can you tell me that I can use to identify or access or utilize its power?
The other wanderer described it as an orb. An orb of black. It is an artifact of tremendous power. The power of a deity. You will know it when you encounter it. Travel west to the wastelands, known as Thar. Beneath a citadel of Thar's fallen people, you will find what you seek.
It said beneath the citadel lies a people?
No, that's not what he said. He said,
Sorry.
a citadel of Thar's fallen people.
Fallen people.
Yep. Within that citadel, or beneath the citadel, you will find what you seek. That's what he said.
Do I need anything to control this orb? Or will I know how to use it when I grab it?
That I cannot tell you, as that was not shared.
Can you describe the other wanderer to me?
He is of this world. Human. I know little more.
I take possession of this powerful orb, and I undo what was done to my people. How does that help you?
I seek only to help those that are lost. Life before encountering the faceless had little meaning. The dreamers, as a species, are an evil lot, seeking only their own personal edification and amassing of power, influence. This was Zaxxis. Zaxxis has much to pay for. In death, perhaps Zaxxis can accomplish what in life it never thought to. Zaxxis only wishes to leave this world, and perhaps others, better in its wake. We are kindred.
As I am moving towards the west and seeking this power, how do I contact you if I have questions?
The beholder kind of shifts a bit, as though it is attempting to grin a bit wider. Zaxxis sends with you an emissary, a guide, the will and the voice of Zaxxis. This will be your companion, your servant, if you will it. And it will provide Zaxxis with a window into your actions. And the ability to shepherd and guide from afar. This is how it has been. This is the purpose of the children. Can you accept this, Grey Wanderer? Can you accept the assistance of an enemy?
I am torn. I feel as though my soul is being ripped asunder at what is, in my eyes, my mortal enemy, but also, in my heart, my only form of redemption.
The lost walk a dark path, Grey Wanderer. Sometimes the light is difficult to find. Think on this. Meditate. Decide within your heart of hearts if this is something that you can accept. The children, the watchful, will await your decision. You feel a tingling in the back of your skull, which alarms you greatly for an instant, because you recall that is where the gemstone was implanted that controlled you for the time.
Not a comfortable feeling.
But it quickly spreads to the rest of your body, and it's almost a familiar feeling. kind of a buzzing that settles in your teeth. Everything goes black for an instant. And whenever you regain awareness or consciousness or whatever it is, you are alone in the safety of your room at the Bloodstone Arms.
Great.
The voice of Zaxxis comes to you, alone in the darkness. Call out the name. If you decide to join the children, call upon Zaxxis, and Zaxxis will answer. The tingling stops, and it's quiet and dark outside your window. We will step back over to Oakhart at this time. The party is still, the remainder of the party is still in Titus Oaks' office, having exercised a great deal of Makaria's draconic language vocabulary, attempting to trigger one thing or another, digging essentially for anything else that they could find within Titus Oaks' study. But it is getting very late. It is probably at least second or third bell at this point in time. Very, very late. Or I suppose early in the morning. Sunrise will not be far away. It's been a long day.
Gentlemen, I can only curse so much before I need more to drink. Or at least a nap.
Yeah, I expect we are done here.
What is
Why
it
don't
that
you-
you... Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, why don't you two head down? I'll tidy up, set the room back the way it was when we entered, and I'll be down shortly.
Sounds good to me. And Makaria will head back to wine and refreshments.
By the time you reach the Great Hall, or the main hall in the Manor of Oakhart, servants have largely cleaned up after your little dinner party. They are probably still in... There are 3 women and 2 men who are currently in the process of removing the remainders of the feast from the table, and they look up as they see Makaria come in. They stop, kind of wide-eyed, and just look at you, Makaria.
Glass of wine, please. Oh, that way. Thank you.
They kind of look to each other, and then one of the men who you recognize as likely one of the kitchen servants or one of the general servants that brought part of the dinner in before. Right away, madam. Yes, just a moment. And he drops whatever it was that he was doing and rushes off past you, kind of bowing as he does, to go behind you into the kitchens area and to fulfill your request. I assume that the rest of you are not far behind. Thoros'l, are you still invisible at this point?
I am not, but I will leave. I'll leave the study, but I'll wait in the hall for Eldrick.
What about Alanere?
Yeah, no, he basically was following Makaria, so he'll be following right behind into the Great Hall.
So as the servant brushes past or gives Makaria a bit of a wide berth as he tries to get past her, he almost runs headlong into you. Oh, and kind of backs off a little bit. My apologies, Ambassador. Is there anything that I can provide for you as well?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Very good. And he nods at Makaria again. Madam, just one moment, please. And he disappears back into the servants' quarters / kitchens area.
Guess what? We found absolutely nothing.
As Eldrick comes out, is there anything in particular that you're looking to do, Eldrick, before you leave your father's study? Besides trying to put things back mostly the way that you found them?
Eldrick will set the room back the way mostly that it was. He'll take one last look at the little figurine of Tana, and then he'll head out of the room. On the way, he has to pass through or by the entrance to his mother's room to get back downstairs, right?
So I'll zoom in on the areas. And again, apologies that this isn't quite complete yet, but you are the room that you are in is here, the study. Your mother's door is down here, so you walk out into the hallway, and then this door leads back to the stairwell down to the first floor. And Thoros'l is waiting for you in that hallway.
Sure. I'll go there. I'll see Thoros'l. You're not invisible, right? You just said you're not. Yeah.
Right.
1 minute. Eldrick's going to go to the door where I believe Caprin Icaro is guarding Madeline's room for the evening.
Caprin is actually sitting inside this room, which is kind of your mother's sort of sitting room, drawing room, her kind of private, her private chamber. But the door is open, and he's just kind of looking out into the hallway, watching your mother's door.
Sure. Well, I'm gonna kind of gesture for him, like I want to have a quick chat with him.
He straightens up very quickly. Yes, sir. Yes, my lord. Baron. What is it? What can I do for you?
Caprin, how long have you worked for my family?
7 years. 7 years at the end of next month. 7 years. Almost as long as you've been away.
Certainly. Good man. Appreciate it. He taps him on the shoulder and then heads for the stairs.
He kind of gives you a kind of a clumsy, awkward salute as you just kind of turn and go. Will there be anything else, my Lord Baron?
Not at all. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir. You too.
All right. Eldrick's gonna gesture for Thoros'l and head down the stairs to join the rest.
On our way, I'll just kind of strike up a short conversation. Say, what do you think?
I think 7 years isn't long enough to know what I need him to know. I might have to question the rest of the staff. I don't think there's anything in my father's office that is going to aid us. And I don't know that searching the rest of the house tonight is going to be of a great boon to us either. About this time, we'd probably get to the bottom of the steps and be heading towards the rest of the group.
Makaria is standing there with a glass of wine in hand. Alanere's kind of standing somewhere nearby, watching her drink it, I guess.
More or less just waiting for, Eldrick and Thoros'l to come down.
What's our plan then, Eldrick? Are we sticking it out until your party?
Well, Eldrick's gonna gather the Scooby Squad around, and it's gonna get a little weird for a second. Eldrick's gonna have two conversations with them. One is gonna be out loud, and one is going to be in their heads through the message that he can do, thanks to the annulus, or ambulus.
You had it right the first time.
Yeah.
Annulus, that's right. Yes, the magic golden donut. Out loud, Eldrick is going to say, I don't think there's anything else left to find in the house. I think searching my father's work office, given that we've already searched his personal office, would be fruitless. Anything else that we're going to find is probably outside of the house. I think that we should break for the night. And I should do some footwork in the morning. I think that yes, we are probably waiting out until the ball or the gathering, whatever it's called. I also think that we probably need to. Nope, that's it. Yep, I think we need to wait till the ball. That's what he says out loud. In you guys' heads, he says, I don't think what we're looking for here is a physical thing. The more the night has gone on, the more I think that the events of the night that I was brought back to the house are more important than I had previously thought. And tomorrow I intend to find a way to question my mother about that more meaningfully. And I will probably be asking Mr. Holy, as he has certainly been here long enough to have been here that night. That part's all in you guys' head.
All right. Well, I think you can find us at the Bloodstone Arms.
Absolutely. And I hope you all had a fantastic dinner this evening. Makaria, I hope that my mother didn't play with your horns too much.
Nope, but don't worry. We became fast friends, and letters will soon flow through each other's pens.
I have
She
to say,
drops a little wine and then kind of goes, whoops, drop.
I have to say, nothing on this adventure has surprised me more than what occurred tonight. Eldrick says out loud.
Well, perhaps one more thing, Eldrick. Have you
Alanere?
given any thought to security? As in, you being here and in the city gives plenty of opportunity for who's ever pulling the strings to make a move on you. When you have appearance, have you thought of using a body double?
Well, I hadn't. And I don't know that my paladin oath would allow me to put another in harm in such a way. It is Ilmater's teaching to take suffering, not avoid it. But I do appreciate your concern.
Oh, for the record, I was offering myself as a body double.
Also appreciated, but I think that I think I would rather not.
Just saying, our enemies use deception. It might be a tool we need to consider using.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pass on that
Actually,
one.
one more unrelated question, Eldrick. I didn't get a chance to ask your mom.
Sure.
Is there a bathtub in this house that you all are not using?
In the you want to remove it from the house sort of way, or the you want to, there is not, but I'm sure I can have one provided for you.
That would be appreciated. And
I will put it in my I will have one sent to the whatever hotel it is again. That I'm so stunned by this class that I don't remember the name of.
I know what's
Bloodstone.
going on. I know what's going on. It still caught me off guard.
My
Slowly but surely,
brain.
I'll get there.
My brain is linking this to some of the notes that I see from last week, but I still don't feel like I have enough context. So, okay, we'll make that happen. Yep. So, anyway, he's gonna, unless anybody's got anything else they want to chat about, he's not gonna broach the topic that he brought up in their heads. He's just gonna walk everybody out.
Well, to Alanere's point on our way out, I'll say you should get yourself at least a new weapon tomorrow.
Yeah,
I know you're in your own house, but from what I understand, your house has been attacked before.
that is word on the street. Yeah, certainly been robbed before. I will certainly be doing that tomorrow. I should have done that today, but the estate is just too soft and cushy and restful. Luxurious, some might say.
Until you can get your own, maybe your house guard can spare a sword for yourself.
I get the meat tenderizer out of the kitchen. I'm more adept at hammers anyway.
You have the hammer pick, don't forget.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I have. I'm still borrowing his hammer pick. I don't have it on me right now, but it is still in the house.
Until you lose that one.
Well, I went 15 years without losing a weapon. I feel like I'll have this one for a little bit.
Yeah, but was it like a holy artifact of your?
We don't need to talk about it. We don't. No, we don't need. We're good.
And
We're
with
good.
that, Eldrick
Close the door.
Eldrick kicks you all out of his house.
Wasn't it a holy artifact? Door.
Yeah, thanks for
What
bringing
you
that
don't
up.
see is him crying on the other side.
Right.
Yeah.
A little bit of sob, one tear.
So then, after
Well, let's go back and have the most expensive booze they have on the Bloodstone Arms.
after the goodbyes are said, you wind up traveling by coach. The manor provides you with a coach on the way back to the Bloodstone Arms. So the three of you ride back to the Bloodstone Arms from Oakhart. Any conversation or anything, any stops that you want to make on the way?
Whew. Well, what a great question. I'm tempted.
Nobody's going to ask about the tub.
No, I
You know
mean,
what?
I'm good with it.
I've just kind of learned that sometimes you just don't really want to know.
You will note on your way back through town, and that for most of you, this isn't really anything new, or most of it isn't anything new. But the city of Heliogabalus, even at probably 3 o'clock in the morning, is still bustling. There's still things going on in the streets. There's still, as you get closer and closer to the market district, it is clear that business has not stopped in the city. Most places that you pass by are dark. You have businesses and whatnot, but there are still street markets effectively set up throughout the entirety of the city. And even if the shops themselves are shuttered for the evening, there are still carts and various like tents and things that are set up all along the avenues where commerce is still very much happening. Taverns and inns are still, as you pass through, the still fairly busy streets. There's still a great deal of activity going on in the city. Probably a little drunker, a little bit more boisterous. You see a lot more of a not specifically military presence, but clearly like mercenary bands roving through the streets. You still see some of the Golden Guard that are patrolling. Less so in the Ride district, or the Rise district rather. But as you start to descend down into Coinholm, you'll note that patrols are on the move and are keeping order in the streets for the most part. But a lot of what traffic is going through the city are armed bands of what are clearly mercenaries. Sometimes some are wearing like badges that mark them as members of the HAG, the Heliogoblus Adventurers Guild. Others are wearing different emblems, but probably 70 to 80% of the people that you come across are moving back and forth between various taverns and inns and other various and sundry services within the city, and are those type, or that type, I suppose. Nobody challenges you. Nobody really pays much mind to your carriage as you go by, other than just basic curiosity. One thing that you will notice, and Alanere, this one probably sticks out to you more than anything, but the gates. There's in this area specifically, right here at the confluence of the three walls, the Rise Wall, the Coinholm Wall, and the Palace Hill Wall, there is a series of gates that allow access in this intersection to all three sections of the city, or all three segments of the city. On both sides, the gates to Palace Hill are closed. You can't recall, with the exception of you, Alanere, you can't recall ever having seen this before, ever having seen any of the interior gates of the city closed. But all of the gates that you pass by on your way down toward Coinholm, all the gates to the Palace Hill district are in fact closed. This is no different from what you saw this morning and even yesterday evening, Alanere. But it is kind of notable to you that, again, this isn't something that happens very often, and now it's been at least 2 consecutive days that these have been closed. Anything else before we arrive back at the Arms?
Nope.
Okay. So you make it back to the Bloodstone Arms. The tap room is obviously still open. Marcus is the daytime operator. Lazar is managing things. He sees you come in and he greets you in his very affable and friendly way. Oh, welcome back. I assume, or I trust that your diversions this evening were successful. It's very late. Either something really good or something really bad happened out there. Yeah?
It still remains to be seen.
Oh,
Just much business to discuss was all.
I see.
I should have a delivery sometime tomorrow.
Oh, that reminds me. Master Thoros'l, was it?
Yes.
I have an item for you back here. Hang on just a moment. He disappears back into a small room behind the bar, and he comes back with a folded letter. Folded and sealed, and you recognize the seal. It is of it is gold wax in the shape of a coin with a wolf's head on it. It is the symbol of the golden coins. Or the gold coins, rather.
Okay. Interesting. I think if I'm going to read this, I'm going to need a little bit of your best.
Oh, absolutely. Anything in particular? What's your poison?
Something that burns and costs a lot.
That's the poison right there.
My goodness.
The most expensive crap you have.
Lazar gives a loud, boisterous laugh. I understand exactly what you mean. On the Baron's tab still?
Absolutely.
I have a particular draft from Kalimshan that I think that you should try. It is a bit more upscale than what we generally advertise. It's fairly rare, but I think you'll enjoy it.
I think I will.
Go ahead and grind up some platinum coins and sprinkle the dust in there.
I know, right?
Lines
Like,
of
let's get some
platinum.
diamond dust up in here.
Oh, what about Makaria and Alanere? Are you guys hanging around? Are you headed upstairs? What's up?
Yeah, I'm gonna go catch some rest because I've only got hours before I got to do devotions.
All right. Sprout, what are you doing at this point in time? You've probably been, we'll say home, I'm using air quotes, since, for maybe an hour or so. Probably when you got back, went around and checked the other rooms to find that your companions had not yet returned. But, go ahead.
In that trip, after I had gotten back, I had gone down to the bar and acquired a bottle of something a little bit stronger than mead, and gone back to my room, and I had barred the room.
Got it. Well, you will probably still be awake, enjoying or drowning your sorrows, whatever the case may be, in the bottle or so that you brought back with you. Lazar probably knows you after you've having spent a couple of days here. He probably knows you well enough that you requested a bottle and he sent 3.
Wise man.
And so you're either, like I said, enjoying your drink or drowning your sorrows, and you hear movement in your wing of rooms outside, heralding either, or likely heralding the return of your companions, or perhaps something more sinister.
As soon as I hear noises, I will have shut off any lights and been silent. I am not in the mood to talk with people at this point in time.
Okay, sounds good. Then, Alanere, Makaria, you return to your rooms individually, right? You're not shacking up or having any further conversation after?
Nope, but I'm casting alarm on my door and window.
Understood. All right, so retiring back to your rooms individually, and I would say calling it a night, but it's more morning than night at this point in time. So at least going to try to get some rest. Thoros'l, you're still downstairs after Makaria and Alanere part ways.
I'll find a corner. If there's a quiet corner, I'll sip the drink and open the letter. If not, I'll go to my room.
Okay. The letter, you break the wax, and you almost immediately recognize the sweeping, very elaborate sweeping hand of one Pardic Wolfswift, aka Pardic Talendar of Symbia. And the letter essentially says that he has returned to Damara. He specifically calls it Damara. Has returned to Damara on business. Would very much be interested in lunch, if you are available, and to talk business regarding the letter you sent.
Okay.
You will find me at the Dusty Duchess.
All right.
Seems to be the place to be.
I'll finish my drink and go to bed.
All right.
That requires some sleep.
Understood. Eldrick, anything in particular on your end after your companions have left? Or are we calling it morning?
We are calling it morning. He needs to get some sleep. He's got some stuff he wants to do, but there's just not enough time right now.
Exhaustion will become a factor if you don't get some rest.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Okay. So then, morning does, or the evening, the remainder of the night passes. Morning comes far too soon, and the 18th of Marpanoth is upon us. You are currently 2 days away from the reception, is what we're calling it, hosted at Oakhart for the Baron Eldrick Oks' celebration of his ascension to the barony of Morov. That is the only major event that you currently have on your calendars, but since that's how we're currently measuring time, since you have literally no other direction, or have given me no other direction at this point in time, you're 2 days out from the reception, and that is, like I said, the only thing currently on the horizon. Lots of drink had by all, and by all, we mean Thoros'l.
Thoros'l will, or are you good for what we're doing in the morning?
Yeah, please.
In the morning, Thoros'l will order all the scones again, and then he'll pen a letter.
Okay.
And ask that it be delivered to the Dusty Duchess, and it's going to be essentially lunch. Tell me where and when.
Okay. That sounds great, and you can have it delivered without any difficulty. Okay, so all right. So that is done. What else do you guys have going on?
I've got nothing less on my to-do list for the day myself.
Makaria will like to buy.
Oh, go right ahead.
Oh, Makaria just wants to order 2 fancy dresses and a cold bath when the bathtub arrives.
Okay. Your delivery will probably reach your room before midday. Assuming that Eldrick follows through on what he said he was going to do. Yeah, so people working for the Baron, at the Baron's special request, perform very, very quickly. And so a large wagon comes to the Bloodstone Arms within a few hours of you waking at probably mid-morning. And a knock comes to Makaria's room door, and you are informed that your package has arrived, or your delivery has arrived, and it is asked, where exactly would you like to have it brought? You want it brought to your room? Because it's fairly large.
Oh yes, it'll need to be in the room.
Okay, so
You don't want to leave that in the hallway.
a few moments later,
No,
there's a quartet of strong young gentlemen who are lugging this thing up the stairs. Takes them a little while, and there's a little bit of a gathering of the various tenants or occupants of the inn that are kind of watching this thing happen. But they bring this large claw-footed ceramic tub long bathtub into your room, and kind of with a bewildered look, everybody still kind of pays you a little bit of extra mind. And you can almost for sure hear them whispering to each other as they're walking away. After they've made the delivery and they've left your room and are walking away, as to what you could be wanting that for. About the same time, several buckets of cold water are brought to your room. And they begin filling your tub.
Once the tub is filled, I will handsomely tip and slowly close the door.
Okay.
Usually use blood instead of cold water.
No chickens were harmed in this ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Yet.
Just ice bath therapy. That's all it is.
All right. Well, I'm gonna guess that's gonna stew for a little bit.
Yep.
Alanere,
It takes a while, a long time.
Alanere, as you are, I assume that you don't like even though you were out fairly late, you're probably still up with the sun, going out to do your devotions and so on and so forth.
Yes. Same things I did before. Because as you said, I believe like in the Dawn Gate area, there's like a number of different, like I guess small parks or kept up areas
I'm sorry, say that again.
that yeah, I believe it was in the Dawn Gate area where like you said like there were like some small parks and stuff like that.
Correct. Yeah,
where
you've
I've
got.
done devotions before.
That's right.
I would once again go to one of those to do my devotions.
Okay.
But afterwards, I kind of want to go and stroll and kind of find all the little park areas that any of them that might have an oak tree.
Okay. Make me a nature check.
All right. Nature.
This is the part where he rolls a 1 and doesn't remember what an oak looks like.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, some upgrades or some changes, I should say.
It's the natural one.
Mother! You jinxed me. I'm going to kill you.
You have to roll for an attack.
Oh, hot damn.
The only oak tree that you are able to locate in the entirety of the city of Heliogapolis is the one that you know where it is. There don't appear to be any other oak trees planted, or at least thriving, in the city of Heliogapolis.
Conspiracy.
Interesting.
There are dozens of varieties of other types of trees, both coniferous and deciduous, in varying stages of turning for the deciduous ones anyways. But no oak trees. None at all. An odd thing happens to you, though, as you are it's probably a little afternoon at this point in time. You're getting a little on the frustrated side as you're traveling back and forth between the different parks, even stroll around in some of the other districts, and you spend a good period of time. You're probably like 3 or 4 hours in at this point in time, and you're getting super frustrated. And as you're thinking, I gotta get back. I gotta get something to eat, something like that. There's a fluttering of movement, and a little bird lands on your shoulder. Just pop.
Oh. Well.
It is a white bird. Not large enough to be a dove. Very, very small, almost like the size of like a small sparrow. That is pure white, with black eyes, black beak. Not a bird that you think. Well, go ahead and make me another nature check.
How about a middle finger? Well, that's
He's gonna roll a 1 and not remember what hers looked like.
It's still a 1, though.
Here it
If
goes.
it's a middle finger, it's only 1.
what the?
Another natural one. That is ridiculous.
If one more
You
one
never-
you can roll 1. I will kill all of you.
You were so traumatized by Condor, you don't remember what birds look like.
Condor, is that you?
You can't recall ever seeing a bird of this type before. It throws you off a little bit. You just pops down on your shoulder, and you look at it, and it's looking back at you. And you're just like, what the hell is this? You are doubly startled when it speaks
I
to
gotta
you.
get out of this city.
You know what a bird looks like?
You are
What's
doubly
the squirrel doing here?
doubly startled by it when the bird speaks to you. She wants to know where you are, why you've returned, and not alerted her. And then it flutters away. It leaps off of you and flutters away.
Oh. I'm assuming an animal messenger from the Queen. All right.
Eldrick, what are you doing this morning? I assume it's late morning, as you're catching up on a little bit of shut-eye.
I'm definitely sleeping in. I'm definitely gonna have a pretty luxurious bath. Definitely gonna be pampered. Certainly gonna have a nice breakfast. At the crack of noon, I will probably get my day started in earnest. And I have a lot of things that I actually want to do. So I don't know if you want me to start in on that. The first thing he's gonna do is he's gonna find two empty journal-ish books that he can write in. And he is going to start writing down for about an hour a number of stories of his life. Nothing of particular note other than he writes down one of them specifically being like in the middle. He'll write down the story about what he remembers of happening when he was wounded saving the knight,
Right.
whose name currently escapes me.
Yeah.
That story and only that story he's also going to write in the second book. And then that second book he's going to chuck into his sack of shit that he's got in his room. And then he's going to take the other book with him as he goes to find his mom.
Okay. So you take your book, and you encounter your mother. We will say she is probably working in her greenhouse this morning. You'll ask around, where the Lady Oaks is, and she is likely at work in her garden in the greenhouse this morning.
Excellent. Well, Eldrick will, as you do, walk in like he owns the place. To kind of admire the flowers, preferably being visible doing it so that she can see that he has some respect for the very nice garden that she has. And he'll say, "Morning, Mother. I hope that you are feeling well after last night's fantastic dinner."
Oh, Eldrick. Oh, yes, quite well indeed. I have to admit, this morning was a little bit of a slow, sluggish start. I haven't had that much to drink in a long time. I apologize if I embarrassed you. I do hope your friends had an enjoyable time.
Oh, they had an excellent time. Makaria especially found the evening to be most agreeable.
That as well. I'm glad to hear it. I apologize again if I said or did anything to embarrass you in front of your friends, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity to get in a little bit of motherly teasing. It's so rare that you bring people. It's so rare that you're even here. I feel like I've missed out a lot on the types of things that mothers are supposed to be able to get to do with their children. And
No, certainly. It was a fantastic evening, and I think that everybody was more the better for the fun. Did you... Oh, sorry.
Did you find what you were looking for in your father's study?
No.
Durbin mentioned that you were looking in there for something, that you were looking for something specific, and if there's something that I can help you find, I'd be happy to.
Maybe. Father has been quite mysterious as of late, and I was hoping to find some clues as to why. But he is, as ever, one step ahead of me. So, did you get a chance to look at that book that I dropped off last night? I apologize for the interruption, but it was, let's just say the contents were mystifying my friends, and it was a point of great contention.
I glanced at it a bit this morning during breakfast. I have to say, most of what's it's kind of heavy. Most of it was over my head. I understand the basics, I think, of what the author was trying to say. It's a little hard to fathom, um, but it's nothing that I hadn't heard, at least talked about before. Well, what was it that you were attempting to to gather from it? Where did you come across it? Is it one of your father's?
Uh, it was in a bag that I believe to have been his. Yes, certainly. Um, the the main question was if one could find one of those lines and how they would do so. That was mostly what we were pondering about. Um, Makaria is much the scholar of magic, and such a thing could be of great use to her, and certainly in it by extension me in our travels.
I I I think I understand. I apologize though. Again, it was kind of a little over my head. If your friend wasn't able to get much more of it or get more out of it than that, I don't know how I'm going to be able to help. I
Well, mostly it was just looking for a second opinion.
well, I can look at that a little deeper if you give me some more time with the
Oh,
tome.
certainly, no rush.
Um, how are you? What are you off to? What are you off to do today?
Well, you told me about Father's memoir, and I have a few days to exercise some free time with, and I figured that maybe I'd start my own, and he'll hold up the journal that he's got that he's kind of started in on. Um, I figured today would be a good day to kind of jot down some of my younger memories, some of my older memories, some of the journeys that I've been on as of late. Um, Certainly, there's many people in Helio here. I can corroborate some stories with certain bakers that perhaps I had a run-in with and such. Uh, maybe you can have some time today to sit down and we can jot down a few stories that I'm sure I probably wouldn't put in the memoir all on my own if you don't mind.
Oh, Eldrick, that's a wonderful idea. You've just the stories that you've told me about your most recent exploits. I don't know if anyone will believe them, as they seem so fantastical. But I mean, even you've always been so good with words. I do think I think that's a fantastic idea. And if there's anything that I can do to assist you, then I would be delighted. Um, Plus, it gives me some extra time to spend with you while you're here in town, and well, that is is fleeting enough. I would be delighted and honored to assist you. Uh, just reliving old times, I suppose.
Absolutely. Do you have any plans this evening?
Nothing that I can't push off to another day. Would you like to discuss over dinner?
I think that would be fantastic. We could start a dinner and get some stories jotted down thereafter.
There was one thing that I wanted to talk to you about. Are you planning on leaving? You mentioned going out into the city. Are you planning on leaving the manor today?
Well, I was thinking so. Yeah,
Well,
I've got a few errands to run that I'd like to take care of personally, preferably. Boys and their weapons. Like to pick one out my own, and I think I might need to make a pass by the Mage's Tower.
well, I know that you were originally resistant to the idea, but I did ask Master Holy to free up two of the house guard to serve as your escorts anytime that you decide to leave. I, I think it necessary, if you're traveling through the city, that you be seen protected.
Sounds like an excellent idea, Mother.
I certainly expected you to be a little bit more resistant than that, given our previous conversation, but I'm very happy to hear that you've come around, for the sake of your station, if nothing else. The people need to know that you're protected.
Certainly. Mr. Alanere was expressing much the same concern last night. So it seems that I am outvoted.
I am liking your friends more and more. That elven fellow especially.
He is an upstanding individual.
I shall inform Master Holy that that you have agreed to it, and he will perform the introductions.
Certainly. You can continue doing your gardening. I'll go off and find him. Do you have any idea where he might be?
He's lurking about somewhere, I'm sure. You might check.
That sounds about right.
You might check the offices.
All right, I'll head that way.
All right.
Good luck with your gardening here.
She comes over, hands filthy with potting soil and dirt, but heedless of it, throws her arms around you, kind of stands up on her toes to kind of give you a kiss on the cheek, and then
I'll give her a big old bear hug.
And one last little squeeze, and then she turns back to her gardening as you go, and she kind of calls, "It is so good to have you home."
It is quite enjoyable, and certainly the beds are better than the road.
So you then leave her and go back into the manor proper, and it doesn't.
I am
Go ahead.
Off to find Mr. Holy.
Doesn't take very long to find him. All you have to do is ask a passing servant, and they will direct you. He is overseeing various matters in the manor. He's not in the offices, as your mother would have suggested, but he is managing things, managing the servants, and when you find him, he's in the Great Hall, and he's having a conversation with two men who you recognize as being basically like handymen, that help oversee the upkeep of the manor. They're discussing. He's kind of gesturing broadly at the interior of the Great Hall, and they're talking about the decor for the event. And whenever he sees you, he kind of dismisses them, and they go off and begin doing whatever it is that they were talking about. My Lord Baron, good morning. I'm so glad you decided to join us today.
Good morning to you as well, Master Holy. I spoke with Mother this morning. By the way, thank you again for opening up Father's office last night. I know it is not something you wanted to do, but it was most helpful. Mother said that you had picked out 2 guards to escort me today if I go out into the city.
That is correct. Yes. Would you care to have introductions?
Potentially. Which 2 is it that you have picked out?
It's the Narble twins. Do you remember them? They've been on staff for the better part of a decade, I suppose. I don't know how else to describe them. They're fairly distinctive. Perhaps we just should go and find them, and we can perform introductions formally.
Certainly. Side question here, out of character. How old was I when the events occurred where I believe that I saved that night?
You were 6.
And then it was apparently, I thought I was 6. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So that would have been 13 years ago.
Yep.
Let me make a note about that real quick. Where's my pencil?
It
All right.
specifically would have been springtime.
Mm-hmm.
The specific date you probably don't recall, though you likely get the date if you looked around a little bit or asked around a little bit.
Sure.
But it was specifically springtime. You were returning home for a spring festival in Heliogabalus, in the company of Sir Higginbottom, and things happened on the road.
Sir Higginbottom. I love that name.
It's in the chat if you need it.
I gotcha. All right. As we're walking, Eldrick's gonna make small talk. How long have you been with us, Master Holy? Something like 20 years?
Since before you were a squalling babe, my Lord Baron. May I ask your interest?
Oh, and he'll hold up the journal. I've been inspired by Mother's Tales and Father's Memoir, and I've kind of started one of my own. He'll flip through it a little bit, and Holy will see like 4 or 5 pages with some stuff scrawled on it.
And you've deigned to include information about me in your little story. I didn't realize I'd made such an impression. I suppose I should be flattered.
Well,
there's a little bit of a smile on his face. He's not looking at you, and he barely even glanced at the notebook. He's
sure.
always proper as he can be, but you can see just a little bit of a smile, perhaps of pride on his face as you're walking side by side.
Indeed. Eldrick will kind of grin. As always, I suspect you'll keep your own counsel on whether or not you approve, but certainly you've been a large portion of my life. That's a fact. And you not only deserve, but certainly will have some pages in this book, no doubt. I'm curious, though. When my father went off to the war, were you here or were you with him?
Oh no, I managed the affairs of the household in your father's absence. That is essentially why he hired me, or is not specifically why he hired me, but my skill set allowed for such. Do you
Absolutely
have you any recollection as to the circumstances of how I came into your father's employ?
I don't think I do.
Well, I'm not one to rest on my own laurels, but your father sought me out specifically from a great house in Symbia. I don't know if you are familiar with the name. I was originally the house steward for. Oh God, now I don't have the name.
Is it the Talendars?
He kind of snaps out of reflex. He snaps a glare on you, and you see just this shock on his face. No, sir. I would. Make me an insight check.
You made him mad, bro.
Oh, yeah. Probably not mad, but I certainly implied some insult. Dun, 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 dun. That would be a gentleman's 21.
The shock. There are a number of emotions play their way across Durbin Holy's face in an instant. Initially, it's shock, then it's anger, and then he immediately wrests all that under control and goes back to his same placid, passive look, as though none of it ever happened. But his gaze kind of lingers on you for a second as he's taken offense. No, sir. I serve the Eskevrin. They are a great house on Selgon's old chancel. The greatest house, if I am any judge. I served the current Lord Eskevrin's father, and when the current master of the house came into power after the unfortunate passing of his sire, he informed me that he had no further need of my services. Fortunately for me, your father had arrived in Selgant at just such a time in the market for in the market for a business partner. I suppose the rest of the story is, as they say, history. But it was very fortunate for me that your father came along when he did, as my prospects at that time, well, let us just say that the Askevrin household in those years was not what it is today. And my immediate prospects were somewhat slim.
Well, certainly it was a fortuitous arrival. And I meant no disrespect. The Talendars are simply the only family in Symbia that I know offhand of. And well, I don't know if the letter I wrote ever arrived, but let's just say they framed me for murder while I was there.
The look on his face. So he stops. He doesn't get the same kind of look, like the same kind of shocked look on his face, but he stops, turns to look at you, holds your gaze for a very uncomfortable 2 or 3 seconds, and then turns back and continues walking. Look, I owe your father a great deal. He essentially rescued me at a time where, well, at a very low period in my life. These near 25 years in his service have, well, they've certainly been the most fulfilling. History check. This is going to be a really low DC because this is things that I'm sure Eldrick knows, even if Souls doesn't.
Even if Souls does not. Well, I'm gonna guess it doesn't matter because the curse of the Alanere is in full force tonight.
That is 3 natural ones on 4 rolls tonight. That is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Utter insanity.
Nope.
We are apparently super dum-dums tonight.
If there's some other meaning to that, if there's some other convergence with Eldrick's particular history, he is just so distracted with what he's trying to get at that it just completely goes over his head. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what?
Just that. Okay. Oh well.
Gotcha. Well, Eldrick will... Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, Eldrick will champion on. Well, certainly, I'd like to pick your brain about that more in the future. I do have a few days, certainly before the reception, to be writing in my let's not call it a memoir just yet, but certainly my journal. Do you know of anyone else who's been in Father's employ anywhere nearly as long?
No, sir. When I came into Oakhard, the first thing to go were the set of servants that your father had before, as the state of the manor was embarrassing. And your father has given me a great deal of autonomy in choosing those that would serve him and would best serve him. And I like to think that I have an eye for that sort of thing and a talent for managing. And you can see all around you that the state of this manor and the state of your father's affairs since my arrival has only improved.
They are quite impeccable, I must say. It is far and wide that I hear good things about my house and receive respect from people who I have not earned it from, certainly. Uh, so you must get props for that, no doubt.
He gives you kind of a shrewd look at one of the things that you just said, but doesn't, as though he's saying, yeah, exactly that. I agree with you without agreeing with you.
Uh-huh. Certainly. Well, by now I suspect we've meandered into the Merble twins.
Yes. So while you're having this conversation, the two of you walk across the manor, and over to the front section, or I guess the southernmost section, which is the entry point and the guardhouse. And he actually encounters Caprin Icaro, who is on watch outside the guardhouse, and he tells Caprin to go and fetch the Narble twins. A few moments later, Caprin returns with a pair of gentlemen that you have probably seen about the manor before, but you've probably never formally met them before.
Mm-hmm.
Durbin says, my Lord Baron, I present to you Masters Kemet and Lars Narble. These two gentlemen will serve as your manservants and bodyguards for the time that you remain in the city.
Are they out of character? Are they armed?
Absolutely. They wear breastplates and short swords, as everyone in the house guard of Oakhart, or the Oaks family, does. They wear the Oaks colors.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of odd that they are introduced to you as the Narble twins, but they don't look anything alike, except for they both have flaming red hair. Kemet is tall. He's taller than you are. He's probably 6.5 feet tall. Very lanky, very wiry looking. Big bushy red mustache, and a full shock of red hair. Lars is much shorter, very stocky, probably only maybe 5'6" or so, but and not particularly muscular, but just dense, just very thick. He has a little tuft of hair on his chin. No mustache, no beard, just a little tuft of flaming red hair on his chin, and kind of a Ben Franklin deal going on. Bald head, but a long red hair cascading down his shoulders. There's a certain resemblance in the face, but that is and the hair, obviously, but that is where the similarities end. You wouldn't, just looking at them, you wouldn't suggest that they are brothers, much less twins.
Gotcha. And they look to be ballpark how old?
Probably mid-30s, early to mid-30s, maybe. Considerably older than you, but not Durbin or your parents' age.
I gotcha.
Kemet, the taller one,
Mm-hmm.
has likely had his nose broken at least once before. He's kind of got a little bit of a jagged thing going on up there. He just looks like he's very tall, very very wiry, like corded muscle. Not obviously muscular, but he looks like he can hold his own in a fight. Looks like a monster. Lars, on the other hand, looks pretty soft. Like, thick, dense, but certainly not muscular. Not fat, but not a muscular or athletic looking build either.
It's not winning any bodybuilding awards here.
Take me and shrink me a foot, and you've got Lars.
Gotcha. Well, already then.
I'm going to take just a short break. My family just got home, so I'm going to take just a minute, and I will be right back. So stick around. We're not quite done yet, but I just need a minute. So be right back. Hey, we're back. Sorry about that. Daddy duty calls. Souls had to step away for just a second, so we're going to make the most of the time, and we're going to go back to the Bloodstone Arms. Alanere is mostly covered. Makaria is busy. Thoros'l doesn't have any plans necessarily for the day, so that leaves us with Sprout. Sprout, what is your plan for morning, afternoon, anything in particular you want to do today, or are you hiding out?
In the morning, what I start to do is I start by praying to my god to find out if I can get some information or some type of direction or thought in regards to how I should proceed. And then after my prayers for that morning, intense though they are, I will go out what I set out the previous day to do and get a daggone outfit.
Well, you actually did that. You probably still have it. Like, you probably still had it on you whenever you got back.
Well, they were going to make it, as I was on my way back to the inn, that's when I kind of got snatched up. So they were going to make it, and then they were supposed to have it for me.
I see. Well, that being said, it was probably delivered to you because you were expected to have it for.
Okay.
Well, you got it for the ball, not for last night, right?
Yes.
Got it. Okay, so yes, it is probably ready for you and is waiting for you downstairs.
Okay.
Whenever you go back down to the tap room or the main chamber of the inn, Marcus, the daytime operator, will recognize you and inform you that a package has arrived for you, which is the clothing that you had picked out for the ball in a couple of days.
Okay. Other than that, yeah, just praying for guidance.
Anything come from that?
Nothing specific. I'm hoping some type of a sign will appear.
Who does Sprout pray to?
Sprout prays to the goddess Iala. If I can spell this, Ialanus.
Okay.
Words are hard. Let's see if I can get a better pronunciation for that.
That's something I don't guess I knew, but hey, even dungeon masters get to learn. That's awesome. Okay, so you spend some time in
Iolanus.
Iolanus. How about you provide me that in the chat, and I can get that taken down.
Okay.
In the meantime, since Souls is back, we will bop back over and finish that conversation. Or I guess finish those introductions. Neither of the two twins really make an outward show of really much of anything other than just simple acknowledgement. If you extend a hand, then they obviously will reciprocate. They both bow as Master Holy introduces you because you're the Baron and they have to. But both of them essentially meet your gaze evenly. Like they're not scraping and bowing, and they're certainly not. They don't appear as starstruck is not the word, but they don't appear to be on eggshells around you as most of the folks have been. You're on mute, just by the way.
Of course I was. All my quippy one-liners gone. Yeah, Eldrick will shake both of their hands, greet them, and say it'll be pleasant trucking around town with you.
Cymryth, at that, says, "We await your pleasure, Baron. If you require conveyance, or if you are planning on going into the city proper, just send for us, and we will accompany you. At the order of your mother, we will be at your beck and call, any time of day."
Appreciated. I do plan to be going out here in a few minutes. If you give me a little bit to, if you guys just want to go out by the front gate, I'll meet you there. in, let's say, 30 minutes.
Should we ready the carriage, or should we go a horse?
Yeah, we got a lot of places to go. I think horse would be fine. We don't need the carriage. That'd be a little much.
The Kemet kind of gives a half smile and nods. He's like, we'll saddle up and we'll wait for you in the stables.
Excellent. I'll meet you gents there.
Well, you're obviously not paying off your tab today, or you'd need the carriage.
Holy looks as though he's essentially finished with the conversation. If that'll be all, my lord, there's still much to do in preparation for your reception.
Absolutely. I appreciate your time, Master Holy.
He gives you a low, very, very formal bow, and turns and heads back through the manor, back to his duties.
All right. Eldrick's going to head to his room and gather some of his stuff. Specifically the pick. He's going to grab his pack, but not most of the stuff. Like, he's not taking any of the documents or any of that stuff with him. But he will have, like, the hammer. He'll have the pick with him. He'll have his journal. He'll have some writing implements, and a bunch of money with him.
Okay.
And then he will meet those fine gentlemen in the stables.
Sounds great. So as Eldrick is saddling up with his two new best friends, Kemet and Lars Narble, the rest of the party are lounging to some degree in the lap of luxury in the Bloodstone Arms, all on the Baron's dime. We will end with Alanere. Alanere, after we'll say it is just past noon by the time you're returning back to the Bloodstone Arms. The strange encounter with the bird still, only just a few moments ago. What is your plan as you're returning back to the Arms, or what are you doing? You're
muted.
Thank you. Yeah, pretty much after I received the message, I'm guessing it's from the Queen. So I am also going to turn around and cast an animal messenger spell.
Okay.
And, get a piece of food for attract a bird. And I will basically give it the general description of Queen Christine.
Okay.
And I'm assuming give the area of the palace. And the message will state, just recently arrived back in Heliogabalus, staying at Bloodstone Arms. Access to Palace Hill has been cut off, tending to many matters before I visit. And I counted them, it's 25 words exactly.
That's perfect. Okay. So the little bird that you whisper this message to kind of gives you a little bounce to the head and takes off toward Palace Hill.
And at that point, I will return to the Bloodstone Arms for some lunch.
Okay. Well, as it is very, very close to 10 p.m., we will go ahead and call our session for tonight there. Thanks to everybody who came out to participate this evening, or to observe our little session here. We will be back with ARAM Apocalypse action on Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week. If you're interested in League of Legends and ARAM games, feel free to join us at that time. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't seen any of this before, please follow. And if you enjoyed what you saw tonight, it really helps out with just channel operations in general, letting us know what you guys liked, what you didn't. Check us out on Discord if you are interested, we have our YouTube channel as well, putting those things in the chat right now. All of our D&D sessions, including the 5 prequel sessions that were pre-stream, are on our Discord now. All of our Apocalypse sessions, which is numbering about 110, 115 by now, are up there as well. Come back and see us next week on Tuesday, the 2nd of May, for episode 11. And then again, we will do Apocalypse action on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday this week. Hope you will join us. Cast, thank you for everything this evening. Hope you guys had a good time. Hope you had a good time watching. We will see you next week. Good night.
Have a good night.